Is it cool to be Asian though, Terry? This is what we're trying to answer right now.
I am pretty jealous of Chinese/Asian kids today compared to when I was growing up. When we were growing up, the stereotypes for us were Jackie Chan,
Yes.
Bruce Lee, BTS,
Yeah.
unheard
That's
of, like back in our day.
Yeah. And then the female equivalent, Blackpink, and we've already mentioned Rosé.
Massive.
It's unbelievable, mate.
A-list type shit.
Yeah.
That's kind of it premiering on, Netflix and stuff. Squid Game, Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah, hugely jealous of the kids these days. And we had, like you've mentioned already, just the kung fu noises made to us and, Jackie Chan. And
It's not embarrassing to do that. Whereas I'm not sure if I'm speaking for everyone, but, there was a bit of embarrassment that you kind of didn't want that bit of your culture to seep out, which was sad. But certainly my kids are a lot more comfortable in their own skin than perhaps we were, 80s and
we are probably a generation behind where the ABCs are, but that's exactly what's happened. Add that onto the internet, and he's fantastic.
Little man crush on him.
He is a good-looking bloke. He's a good look.
Hey Kev, how's it going?
Hello, Terry. How's your week been?
Oh, mental. Absolutely mental. But not as mental as that flipping group that we posted in last week. And crazy.
Yes, you asked a pretty good question, and it got a lot of responses. Some positive, some negative, but it certainly stirred up a lot of reaction.
So last week, we posted on the British-born Chinese group on Facebook, nicely known as the BBC group. And we posted, why has it suddenly been cool to be Asian? And man, we got like 130 different responses, which was crazy.
Madness. And some good, some bad, and loads of different viewpoints on the topic. But it was a question asked very pointedly to stir controversy, right? We said it was cool to be Asian. Is it cool to be Asian though, Terry? This is what we're trying to answer right now.
It was expecting a slightly different response, actually. The response I got from that post, you agreed, was not as positive as I thought it would be.
No.
Actually.
We've spoken about this a few times, like the fact that in the media now, there's a lot more Asian representation. There's a lot more sports personalities coming through that are particularly strong. And actually, you've got people, captaining football teams, top flight football teams from Asian countries, which would never be thought possible. The top song in the UK is from a Korean and Filipino pop star. You've got TV shows that are being watched globally as number one TV shows. This stuff would not have happened when we were kids. This is massive now, isn't it?
I am pretty jealous of Chinese/Asian kids today compared to when I was growing up. When we were growing up, the stereotypes for us were Jackie Chan.
Yes.
Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hats off to them. They broke down barriers, brought martial arts over to the West, like today's Asian representation. Because who we've got today? Like in the media, we've got the biggest pop group in the entire United States, maybe the world. I don't know. BTS.
Yeah.
Unheard of, like back in our day.
Yeah. And then the female equivalent, Blackpink, and we've already mentioned Rosé.
Massive.
It's unbelievable, mate. I'm jealous of the Asian kids growing up in the UK today.
Really jealous.
Yeah.
And
So you go.
Even in the movies, we're talking mainstream Netflix, cinema, Marvel, A-list type shit. Yeah. That's kind of it premiering on, Netflix and stuff. Squid Game, Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah, two great examples, and you've got, even in the Marvel universe, you've got one coming through as a prolific character as well. And we've already mentioned the pop music as well that's coming through. So yeah, hugely jealous of the kids these days. And we had, like you've mentioned already, just the kung fu noises made to us and, Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee. Again, Bruce Lee's one of my biggest heroes, but that was all we had. That was all we were known for. It's making a mean sweet and sour chicken and possibly being good with our hands in a throwdown. Do you know what I mean? And that was it, right? I am massively jealous of the kids these days, for sure.
Kids nowadays should, in theory, be really proud of their heritage, of their culture.
Sure.
I think it's pretty cool that nowadays, if you go into any major city centre, Manchester, London, Birmingham, Leeds, or whatever, there's always like a Korean supermarket or a Korean barbecue or a Japanese sushi. Like sushi is like synonymous with cool. That are 11, 12 years old. And when they go out, they don't go to arcades. They want to go sushi with their mates.
Yeah, that's right. And it's a cool thing to do now, isn't it? Maybe have a bit of Korean barbecue, maybe go for a bubble tea afterwards. It just makes up part of their day. They might go to the cinema, they might go to the arcade, they might go and pick up a bubble tea and then go for some food in a Korean place. And it's become fine to do that. It's become quite cool to do that and known to do that now. And their interests are slightly different now. They'll be going home to watch maybe an anime or maybe whatever hit Korean TV shows on at the moment and listening to Blackpink. It's just, yeah, it's great. Or New Jeans or whoever the newest Korean pop group is at the moment. So it is absolutely awesome.
And the interesting thing is that kids nowadays aren't embarrassed by that culture. As an example, as a kid growing up, you almost try to hide some of that the Chinese culture from your mates, and because you want to fit in. Now, quite often we were just no different from our English mates, right? But really, even though they were your mates, you kind of hid that side of it.
You're very true.
As an example, when Natasha and her tweeny friends go out to the Trafford Centre, she'll take them all for sushi and she'll take them all for bubble tea. She's like completely proud of, like Asian cuisine, Asian snacks. And then they'll go and buy some, they'll go to Kenji, which is pure Asian. It's all cool. You know what I mean? It's not embarrassing to do that. Whereas I'm not sure if I'm speaking for everyone, but there was a bit of embarrassment. Like, you kind of didn't want that bit of your culture to seep out, which was sad.
Yeah, it was really sad. Like, there was times where the food that we loved was kept for the home. If someone mentioned, oh, what do you eat at home? Well, you'd just lie, wouldn't you? You'd just be like, oh, whatever you guys eat, potatoes and meat and gravy or whatever.
Yeah.
You'd never tell them exactly what you ate.
Is that the stereotype, Kev?
Well,
Is that a stereotype of potato and gravy?
I don't. That sounds very nice. I would have that right now.
But no, it's definitely cooler now to be Chinese, Asian. I feel it is as well.
Yeah. If not cooler, which I think it is, people will see the cool edges of each culture these days. If not cooler, definitely more accepting. At a base minimum, more accepting. We talked about this in the previous episode about the prevalence of Chinese students, etc. But I think the internet is a massive thing. People discovering things through the internet and then being introduced to them through the internet and going, actually, it's like really nice food, that music's cool. And it's just opened up a lot of barriers that were there before. Because if you weren't exposed to it, then it would be something weird. But by de facto, being exposed creates curiosity. And curiosity then creates a need to go and try something. And I think that's where everything's come from, is the exposure.
Agreed. I'm jealous of our Chinese stroke Asian kids nowadays. But there is a darker side. Hopefully, our age group, you and I, have sheltered our kids away from like that sort of being embarrassed about your culture, and that they're actually fully embracing it. I think our kids, my kids generally are. But there's a bit of aftermath, a bit of pain that's happened in our generation, or maybe like 10 years before, where the inflicted pain is like left scars. Because the thing that really surprised me the most when we asked this question in the Facebook group and the responses we got, some of the more negative ones were including, I never thought it was cool. Only Asians think it's cool. We'll never be seen as good as some of our Western counterparts. And then basically said, it's not cool. Literally just said, it's not cool. And someone basically, the overall vibe and feel that I got from some of the more negative comments was the fact that the way they appeared to look at themselves as not relevant,
not being not equal is
not equal. That's a good
quite self-defeatist. putting yourself down in a lot of ways. Is like saying, oh, well, it's not cool. Only you guys think it's cool, or only Asians think it's cool. The rest of the world don't see it as cool. It's perfectly okay to see your own culture as cool. It doesn't mean it's superior. Doesn't mean that at all. I don't think
Yeah,
one
yeah,
culture is
absolutely.
superior to another. I just feel like there's aspects of every culture that could be taken as cool or interesting or, intriguing to people. And I feel that is something to be proud of. If people are interested and think it's cool and think it's intriguing, I think that's a cool thing. But these guys are saying that is false. That doesn't exist. What you're suggesting in your post isn't true. So they're almost saying that we will always be secondary to other cultures. We will always not matter as much as other cultures. I just feel that's a shame.
I think it's really sad. I think it's really sad that they have, it's complete opposite of how I see myself, my family, our cultures, our friends. We've got a lot of friends and I don't think any of our friends see us like that. Not see us any better or less than any other culture,
No.
but as equals. I just wanted to say that for anyone, regardless of culture, if you don't see yourself as relevant or equal, you can't expect other people to. Like, if
Exactly
you
that.
don't have the self-confidence to say, hey, I'm actually pretty good at what I do, or I bring some value to my job or to this friendship group, you can't also then expect other people to actually see you like that if you don't see yourself like that.
The moment you wake up and the moment you step out the door, you're already losing. You're already saying, people view me differently. People don't treat me as important. People don't treat me as equal. If you already have that view on yourself, how are other people supposed to appreciate your viewpoints if you don't have the confidence to say my voice is equal, my viewpoint is equal, what I've got to contribute is equal to everyone else's? It may not be better, it may not be worse, but at least it should be considered as equal. How are you ever going to, make other people see that your value's there? And then, those people will go on to have kids and they'll probably instill those values to their kids as
Yeah,
well. And it's just
exactly.
so
And it's a vicious
perpetual.
cycle, and it's really sad. Someone's going to break the cycle. I feel that from our groups, we are kind of breaking down and stopping that cycle and starting afresh. I was insecure when I was a kid, but certainly my kids are a lot more comfortable in their own skin than perhaps we were, 80s and
Yeah.
But our kids don't hide the fact that they are BBCs or British born Chinese. In fact, they don't see any of that culture, religion or race. They just see themselves as themselves.
That's right.
They don't even bring up race at all.
No, I think that's, and what I do like is if you looked at this Venn diagram of stuff that people like, for my boys, for example, it'll be things like Pokemon, football, certain TV shows, etc. And then all of them share those same interests right in the middle. Vectoring out, each one has little vectors out. So the Hayden might like certain foods, or he might like certain other TV shows that his friends not. And there'll be other lads of different cultures and backgrounds. One of them has family in Ireland, so they will have different experiences of family in Ireland, etc. And that's their individual sectors of their life, and they just get appreciated for who they are as a whole, and they've got that common ground in the middle. And I think that's where it's different these days, whereas we would hide that part of us that was in the outside of that Venn
We
diagram.
would. I used to hide that. Not because I don't think any of my friends would do anything about it or say anything negative. It's just naturally you were brought up in a really self-conscious way because of the era. But as you mentioned football there, Jamie is really into football as well. He's a bit younger than your boys. But there was a time when we were kids that if you said, I want to be a footballer, you kind of like shrugged off to say, well, you never will be. You never will be, just because of your race, because of your culture, because they didn't really have anyone to look up to. But now, if you want to be a footballer, you could be a professional footballer. You've got Son, who's the captain of Spurs.
Unheard of.
Unheard
Imagine
of, right?
15 years ago saying that the captain of a top flight, and not just top flight, pretty damn good football team in the Premier League is of South Korean descent. It's unthinkable, mate. Absolutely unthinkable.
Broken down barriers, right? If you're the daughter, but if your daughter said when she was like 3, 4, 5, oh, I want to be a pop star and go to Hollywood or be a movie star, and you think maybe if you tried your hardest, you could be a TVB star. TVB is a Hong Kong channel for those that don't know, but a really relatively big audience, but still relatively small compared to the global scene. But now, if you've got a 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old little girl who says, hey, I want to be a movie star or a celebrity or, or a pop star, they've got some role models to look up to. Blackpink, BTS, whatever.
Yeah.
Some people may argue that they're not the perfect role models, but they are role models for that role.
And Simu Liu, who's been in Shang-Chi,
There you go.
or the opposite lead in Killing Eve, the female partner,
Yeah.
she was of Korean descent as well. And what's that film? Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. That was a
Yeah.
massive in the
That
box
shit
office.
won like
Huge.
awards, right? Do you know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
loads of, like Squid Game. How many awards did they win?
No, and it was like at number one on Netflix for a long time.
Crazy. And you've got people that are more Western than Western looking forward to this.
Yeah, exactly. And it's seeped through into all levels of society now, and people are actually enjoying the culture and the food, etc. Like, it's very normal for a middle class person to know what sriracha is or the chili oil. It's absolutely normal for them to know that stuff. So it's a great time for Asian kids and Asian culture at the moment. Long may it continue.
I think in the talking about stereotypes as well, when we were kids compared to now, what jobs did our parents have? Most, I would probably argue, as 98 or 99% of families, parents, when we were growing up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, had takeaways or restaurants. That was the general profession of parents in that era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not the stereotype now. I think I don't know if it's completely replaced, but certainly now, people in their 20s growing up, they're not going to be working in takeaways or restaurants. Some do. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think it's almost where America was 30 years ago. You'll see some ABCs, right? That a lot of them moved over and they opened laundromats and takeaways and eateries. Their children have now grown up and got normal non-K type or service type. That's exactly what's happened here in England. We are probably a generation behind where the ABCs are, but that's exactly what's happened. Add that onto the internet and the fact that some pretty good media is coming out and prolific sports stars are coming out and being able to compete at a world stage. I mean, that's all just adding to the fact that we're not just seen as being pigeonholed into takeaway jobs and kung fu artists.
Yeah, I agree. I think there needs to be more Asian-inspired role models, because all the role models that we've spoken about so far are pretty much American-based.
In terms of
movies, I guess pop culture and things like that.
Yeah.
They've made their name in America.
Sure.
But whereas, who's the guy in, what's his name now? The guy that you mentioned before.
Simu Liu.
No, big guy.
Ben Wong.
Ben Wong.
He's actually
he's from Salford.
He's one of my good friends. They've known each other since they were little. It's mad.
Hats off to you, sir.
Absolutely.
Hats off to you.
Yeah.
You're paving the way, brother.
100%. And Henry Golding as well. Don't forget. I think he's half Asian.
He's been brilliant in films.
Yeah,
I loved him.
Brilliant. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Little man crush on him.
He is a good-looking bloke. He's a
good-looking. I had a man crush on him. He is not the stereotypical Asian. When I was growing up in the 80s.
No, you wouldn't have seen it at all. Don't forget Gemma Chan. We need to shout out Gemma Chan as well.
Sorry, yes. So both very good-looking people. Yeah,
yes.
Both. I think we've got a lot to be proud of.
I would say
we've got a lot. Do you think it's? I do think a lot of Asian culture is cooler and more respected, but I don't know if you saw. And this was in America, but on Shark Tank, actually, no, I think it was Australia, where there was this company who wanted to bring out a newer, better bubble tea.
Ah, yes. They said they used the word better, right? Yeah.
They used the word. Unfortunately for them, Simu Liu was a guest investor on the panel, and he actually took it the wrong way. He took it as less appreciation, more appropriation.
Yeah, I would agree. I did see that clip as well. I watched the whole segment from the beginning of the pitch to the end. And there was this air of, we've taken this drink and made it better, healthier. We've made it more sustainable. There was lots of big words that were suggesting the original type of bubble tea, which originated in Taiwan, was none of those things. It was non-healthy, non-sustainable, and not better. They said they made the recipe better. So they have subsequently come out and apologized for their the stance that they took. But I definitely saw that as, better is subjective, right? You can't say that you've taken something that's an original recipe and made it better, because better is completely subjective to the people that are drinking it. And in what ways is it better? And already you're saying that it's healthier, etc., almost suggesting that the original way that it was made was not those things. And yeah, I think
they actually started off the pitch as, you never know what's in your bubble teas. That's how they started it. A healthier, better, newer alternative to bubble tea. And Similou just ripped into him.
Yeah, that's right. And I think it was right. Now, the funny thing is, if Simu wasn't on that show at that time, would there be an uproar? I don't think there would have been.
No,
I just think it was wrong place, wrong time for them guys, And I feel like I just don't like the fact that, personally, this is my own view, that the way that you say, well, you don't know what's in it. These people are making you drinks. You don't know what you're going to be fed. You might like the taste, but it might actually not be that good for you. And the fact that they're calling it non-healthy, for me, felt like appropriation and not appreciation. Thankfully, a lot of the kids that are into Asian culture in the UK don't seem that way. From what I've seen observationally in the street and from conversations that I've heard, it seems like the people that are into K-pop, Asian food and culture, do appreciate the origins of that culture.
there's a respectful culture.
Yeah, and I feel that's the right thing to do, because you often hear about Black culture being appropriated in the wrong way in America, and the origins of the art often not being appreciated. But it doesn't feel like that for the people that are listening to and watching Asian culture and TV and music. It certainly feels like they do appreciate it. At least that's from my anecdotal observations of what I've seen.
Yeah. No, I agree. So anyway, let's cut to the chase, Kev. Is it cool to be Asian nowadays?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's a damn sight cooler than when we were growing up, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I'm really proud of our culture and everything that's come out from the East. I think, but that said, I think every part of the world brings something. I just think that we were never appreciated or respected or given the sort of limelight that it's got today.
Agreed.
Should be really proud. And for those people who don't have the self-confidence, think that they can bring a lot of value just because of our race and culture, we just need to pick ourselves up and cheer each other on. If your friend has started a new little business and it's Asian related, cheer them on, don't bring them down.
Absolutely. I think we often have that mentality that we need to put ourselves down. We need to think of ourselves as not equal. Those times are gone now. I think we should all be appreciated for the value that we bring, even if it's from any angle, whether it's food, TV, culture, music, whatever it is. If it's of good quality and it made for consumption by a wider audience, it should be totally appreciated in the right way.
Let's be proud of who we are.
Agreed.
Kev, lovely putting the world to rights again with you.
Yeah, it's good. Let's do it again soon.
See you next week.
See you next week.